Just to, introduce my familiarity with uh Radiohead, I have no familiarity with them. All I really know is Creep, maybe a couple other songs that I've heard through whatever, like, you know, brief introductions in a video or maybe a movie or something of that matter. But it's not a really, I have no like fond memories of listening to their music or have any opinion on them as an artist. More so that I know them as an artist who kind of lives in the more artsy kind of experimental realm of music, which I actually am a huge fan of and always gravitate towards when it comes to getting away from the mainstream kind of, expectation. They're the kind of band that doesn't uh, trample over the same cliches when it comes to musical kind of songs that just, have the what you come to expect what's happening next. They can throw you some curveballs, and I really like that because music today has become very predictable, very bland, and kind of lacking layers. And if I in there and so let's coming into this album, that's the first thing I have to say about it. It is a layered album. It has lots of layers, lots of uh things going on, noises, synths, uh it's just got a lot of different little aspects to it that kind of build a pretty foundational musical wall of sound. And that's something that's always been up my alley. So yeah, we'll just kind of go right into the track listing. And so let me look at my notes here. We're gonna start with my favorite songs of the album. So first song, my number one favorite song of the album is Paranoid Android. That's a 10 out of 10 for me. Um, and that actually it hits a lot of notes that I actually really like, especially when it comes to music that has some very like passion, emotions kind of crammed into it. It has a very mysterious feeling to it. Um, has that kind of, weird quality to it. I really enjoy the memorable kind of um chorus here or the memorable like vocals here. I just overall it has this very atmospheric quality to it. Just enjoy the emotion in this. It definitely paints a lot of pictures in the mind. Now, this is actually very interesting to me. Wherever you are when you listen to music can kind of attach itself to the music. I was in Lake George when I listened to this, and actually it was interesting sitting out. Uh, there's like a porch, screened in porch. It's raining. I'm just kind of sitting, relaxing, and this was one of those kinds of songs that really took on my surrounding area, and that's amazing that that can actually happen with music currently. A lot of the times, most people believe when you're younger, you're impressionable to music's effect on you, what it attaches itself to, nostalgically or just um, what you reference in your mind when you experience it, whatever's happening at the moment. So yeah, it was really just a cool vibe for this song here. So really enjoyed the song. It reminded me of a lot of things. It actually kind of reminded me of this game I played, Diablo. Uh, the acoustic music you hear when you're in town, almost like borderline medieval, borderline just ancient sounding, which I love. So yeah, 10 out of 10 for me on that song. And then another pretty memorable song for me was Karma Police. This one was actually very just it has a mopey feeling to it, but it's an enjoyable, memorable song that just kind of It doesn't really arrive at its musical point till the way I want it to, but it it just keeps the songs kind of fresh image in your mind. And I gave it an 8 out of 10 for that song. So yeah, it's another one. Now this one might come to a very big surprise. But I gave Happier actually a 10 out of 10. Now I'll
Love that
explain
song.
why. What did you say?
I actually like that one a lot too.
Oh, well, hats off to you, sir. Bald head, I'll blind you with my baldness. But I actually gave that a 10 out of 10 for one very specific reason. It is so cool to have sad music played over the top of a list of words that sound positive but come off creepy and controlling and kind of lack of like choice and freedom. And like it was like very artistically fresh to do something like that with this kind of creepy voice, computer voice, kind of telling you like you're like a pig in a cage on antibiotics. Kind of sounds like all of us right now in our food supply and our government. I don't want to get into some conspiracy theories, but we're essentially livestock right now for our government. So yeah, that's think of that what you will. But that was a cool little song there. So I gave that a 10 out of 10. So yeah, and then kind of rounding out the top of the songs that I got a higher rating, exit music for a film. Very slow, very quiet song, but there is a cool I wouldn't say Johnny Cash, but like uh acoustic kind of uh 70s song to this vibe to the song, but like it kind of reminds me of Queens of the Stone Age, and it kind of reminds me of just Johnny Cash-esque acoustic guitar. And this I just overall love the song, and it kind of goes in some strange directions. I really like that. Yeah, so those are like my top songs of the album. And then we kind of come down to some of the lower, but like still great. The Subterranean Homesick Alien, that one was another. Just got a very spacey, kind of trippy feel to it. I really enjoyed. This was a very relaxing album for me. So, uh, putting this in a separate category, most albums I like to be straightforward. When an album is not straightforward and has an obvious hook or an obvious chorus or an obvious direction with its music, I put it into another category of music that I'd like to experience while driving, while relaxing, and letting myself kind of drift away. Uh, you know, that's the kind of category I put in this album. If you were to set it down next to like a very straightforward pop album, they both take different directions musically, and that's sometimes it's not for everyone to have that kind of lack of straightforward direction. Sometimes you need something like that when you're in a certain kind of mood. Other times you're not in the mood for that. So this album could be one of those albums that when you're not in the mood for it, could deter you from listening to it because you just want something more like simple and catchy and easier to digest. This is not an easy to digest album in that it has some strangeties. It's got some weird things going on, and that's it's like I said, that's why what's great about this whole thing is because you listen to something and it's not for everyone, but some people out there like it. And I mean, and clearly the list says it's one of the greatest albums. So I mean, not that I think the list is absolute, but a lot of people would stand behind saying it's a great album. Yeah, so then we kind of come down to some of these other songs. Let down, kind of you would say that was a letdown. I actually didn't like the song at first, but it actually grew on me. I would thought it was pretty mid, and then it's just kind of a positive, uplifting kind of song. The way it just kind of comes along, and I didn't love it, but it was 7 out of 10, still not too bad. Then the first opening song. Now, you're going to draw some distinctions vocally with this band. Muse, maybe Coldplay, maybe some of these other types of, even Oasis on this first song.
You too.
And what do you say?
You too.
You too. Yes. I actually did not like this opening song. I gave it a 6 out of 10. It just the vocals are kind of annoying. They lack the direction. I enjoy the atmosphere, but overall it feels disjointed a little bit. It's got some cool flowing quality to the music, but overall it was one of those songs that I just kind of opened up and went, like I don't love Muse. I don't love their vocal styling, and this kind of brought me in that direction. So I was really kind of like hesitant when I first heard this song. Coming down the line, under electioneering, that was okay. Not the greatest song. 6.5. Not loving the vocals here again. They were kind of up and down. It's kind of has some weird production stuff going on that I'm not a huge fan of. Overall, yeah. Climbing as well as climbing up the walls wasn't great on that one either. The vocals actually work for that. They're like very falsetto kind of vocals, or like you know, just that style of vocal actually works. Not so much blown away by some of the music on it, but it was okay. 6.5. And then Lucky, another 6.5. Chill song, not really much going on that could really blow me away. The Tourist, now this comes to the end of the album. This one was a disappointment for me because while I felt it had a little bit of an epic quality to it, it was a little repetitive. It it was not much substance to it besides kind of just the overall environment they're creating. Sometimes the environment isn't exactly as much as like the substance that exists within it versus just being surrounded by sound. And yeah, it was just kind of okay for me. I think I made no surprises as well. 7 out of 10. This one actually kind of reminded me of The Doors a little bit, as well as Bowie. I got some Bowie vibes throughout this whole album, and I actually warmed up to this song as well. I love the ending. It's got a kind of a lullaby feel to it, but with like the ending kind of builds. But overall, like, yeah, this album was actually, it got better and better as I listened to it. Now, would I say this is like one of the greatest albums of all time? That's debatable. Would I say this album provides a very specific, um, specific use, or like uh during a certain specific time when you're doing something, you're hanging out, you're relaxing, you're doing something that has like a picturesque kind of subject to it, I think this actually works. And I think that while I wouldn't recommend it for all the times when I'm in a mood to hear something driving beat or more upbeat, up pace, it's a little on the atmospheric, floaty, quiet then loud, and then there's a lot of dynamics to it. So yeah, there it definitely is. It has a lot going on for it, but may not be for everyone. But overall, 7.5 out of 10, with a possibility to go into the 8 category. But overall, I think 7.5, 8. I'm gonna have it. That's what's nice is we can always what we can do on this channel is we can revisit an album that we've all rated that maybe we haven't listened to in a while and say, hey, like, do we think anything different now, or is it the same? I'll put 7.5 down now with the possibility of 8 later, if some of the songs begin to grow on me. But yeah, like, it was good, not amazing, but good enough to get a 7.5, which is a decent score. So yeah.